Dear chosen ones, I want to thank you for continuing your God-given path, as hard as it can get sometimes. Because there are ways of living that this world stopped respecting a long time ago. Quietness, reflection, moving slowly enough to actually feel your own life while it's happening. Now everything is urgency, noise, pressure, endless movement. People are taught to wake up already behind, to treat rest like guilt, to measure their worth by productivity, attention, and speed. And after hearing that long enough, even good people begin to question themselves for not living the same way. Hello, my friend. And I want to say this gently, because I think many of you have been carrying something heavier than you realize. God does not create every soul to move in the same rhythm. Some people are built to rush outward constantly, and some people are built to notice things more deeply before they move at all. Neither is a mistake, and I need you to hear this clearly. There is nothing wrong with the way your pace works. Yet one of the saddest things that happens in life is when someone abandons their natural design just to avoid feeling different from the people around them. I've felt that pressure, and maybe you've felt that pressure too. The pressure to become louder than you naturally are, more reactive, more constantly available, more socially acceptable, more explainable. But deep down, something in you never fully agreed to it. Not because you are difficult, not because you are failing, but because your spirit recognizes when it is being pulled away from its own nature. And that feeling matters more than you think. Because God often places meaning inside people long before they understand it intellectually. Sometimes your soul recognizes truth before your mind can explain why. That is why certain things exhaust you that seem normal to everyone else. That is why some environments drain you even when nothing bad is happening. That is why constantly performing a version of yourself for the comfort of others can leave you feeling strangely disconnected afterward. Your spirit was never designed to live entirely on the surface, and that is not weakness. A cathedral is built differently than a tent. A tent can be raised quickly, moved quickly, replaced quickly. But things meant to carry weight for generations are not built that way. They take time, layer after layer, stone after stone, detail after detail. And while fast things may look impressive in the beginning, lasting things are usually formed slowly, quietly, almost invisibly at first. That is how depth works too. Some people react immediately to every trend, every opinion, every shift around them. But people who carry depth tend to move differently. They take longer to decide, longer to trust, longer to reveal everything they carry inside. Not because they are weak, but because meaningful things are rarely built in haste. And I think many of you have spent years judging yourself for moving with depth in a world addicted to speed. Sometimes you thought your stillness meant you were falling behind. You thought your reflection meant hesitation. You thought your sensitivity meant fragility. Meanwhile, God may have been building an entirely different kind of strength inside you the whole time. And I want you to pause here for a moment, because this matters. Not every strong person looks powerful on the surface. Some people carry strength in the way they endure quietly, in the way they continue loving after disappointment, in the way they keep searching for meaning even after life becomes heavy, in the way they remain thoughtful in a world that rewards impulsiveness. That kind of strength rarely gets celebrated immediately, but it changes lives deeply over time. And maybe this is something you needed to hear today. You are not weak for still being soft in a hard world. That softness is not confusion. It is endurance that has not turned bitter, and that matters more than most people realize. And I want to tell you something else that may finally release pressure from your shoulders. Not everything inside you needs to make immediate sense for it to still have purpose. Some things reveal their meaning slowly. A seed underground can look inactive to someone standing above the soil, But hidden growth is still growth. And some of the most important seasons in your life may not look impressive from the outside at all. You may simply be in a season where God is strengthening structure before recognition, depth before expansion, stability before acceleration. Because when something is meant to last, it is usually built slower. That is true for nature. It is true for healing. It is true for wisdom, and it is true for people too. So if life has felt strange lately, if you have questioned your pace, your nature, or your place in this world, maybe the answer is not that you are doing life wrong. Maybe you are finally beginning to realize that your spirit was never designed to survive through constant comparison. Maybe God did not create you to become a copy of what this world already has. Maybe He created you to carry a different rhythm entirely. And maybe, for the first time in a long time, you are slowly remembering that there is meaning in the way you exist too. And I want to take you a little further with this, because you deserve to believe your actual worth in this world. Once you begin to see that your life is not a mistake in rhythm, something inside you starts to soften. You stop fighting yourself in the same way. You stop asking why you don't move like everyone else. And instead, you start noticing something quieter, that maybe your life was never meant to feel like constant acceleration. Maybe it was meant to feel like awareness, like presence, like actually being here while life is happening, not just trying to get through it. There is something deeply misunderstood about people like you. The world often confuses calmness with delay, confuses reflection with uncertainty, confuses sensitivity with instability. But what if none of that is true? What if what you call overthinking is actually just deeper processing? What if what you call slowness is actually alignment, refusing to rush what matters? Not everything valuable arrives quickly. Think about music for a moment. A song is not beautiful because it is fast. It is beautiful because it knows when to pause, because it knows when silence is part of the meaning. Without those pauses, even the most beautiful melody becomes noise. And I think your life has those pauses too. Moments where nothing seems to be happening on the outside, but something is quietly forming within you. Not visible yet, not explained yet, but real. And maybe you've misunderstood those moments. Maybe you called them stuck. Maybe you called them lost. Maybe you thought something was missing. But what if nothing is missing? What if something is simply becoming? There is a kind of growth that does not announce itself. It does not feel impressive. It does not give you certainty every morning, but it changes you in ways you only understand later. Like realizing one day that you no longer react to things the same way you used to, or that something you once feared doesn't hold the same weight anymore, or that your heart has become a little more patient without you trying to force it. That is not randomness. That is formation. And I want you to hear this here and now. You are not behind or late or out of place in your own story. You are simply in a part of the process that doesn't look dramatic yet. But it is essential, because even in nature, the most important growth happens where no one is watching. Before anything rises, it first settles. Before anything expands, it first stabilizes. And maybe your life is doing exactly that. Settling, stabilizing, preparing you for a version of yourself that cannot be rushed into existence. And I know the world rarely speaks like this. The world tends to reward speed. It rewards visibility. It rewards constant movement. But not everything meaningful responds to those rules. Some things in life only respond to depth, to time, to quiet unfolding. And I think you've always known that in a way you couldn't explain. That's why certain rushed paths never fully felt like yours. That's why certain lifestyles, even if they looked appealing from the outside, never fully settled in your spirit. Because something in you was already built for a different kind of pace. Not slower because it lacks direction, but deeper because it carries meaning. And I want you to hold this with you. You are not required to match the rhythm of everything around you to be valid. God made you to exist in your own timing without apology, and nothing about that makes you less. In fact, for many of you, it is exactly what makes you real.